Hello everyone, welcome to episode 4 of Overthinking Media. I'm your host Michael, and joining me we have Harry.
Hello.
And John.
Howdy, 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 howdy.
Howdy. How are we all this week?
Not good.
Not good.
We've done this on the Monday, so it's probably not the best day to do it.
Yep.
Yay, Monday
blues.
motivation.
Monday blues. Okay, so this week's topic, we're going to move straight into that.
I need to stop you there.
Okay.
Because I need to talk about last week's topic for about 20 seconds.
Okay, go on.
And I need to publicly apologise for insinuating that my girlfriend watches Love Island.
She does watch Love Island, though. She's definitely the type.
She's... No, she doesn't. She watched it out of why do people like this crap? Oh, it's awful. But all I saw was her sat on the sofa watching Love Island. So I made a terrible assumption and told people about it, and then
Doghouse.
yes. So I've been told to make you aware that she actually has good taste in TV and enjoys things like Marvel's Daredevil.
Just bad taste in men.
And Star Trek.
Star Trek?
Yeah, Discovery.
Oh,
Or just any Star Trek, mostly
I was
Voyager.
about to say.
That's
Star
a discussion
Trek.
for another podcast.
Okay, so moving on. This week's topic, we're going to talk about films and TV series that have had their day. When is it time to give up? When have they been cancelled? When you think they should be cancelled? If they should get another series?
So, prime example of this.
Thoughts?
Well, prime example of this is Big Bang Theory.
That show should have ended at season 4 or 5,
I still watch it,
right?
but I guess that's just me because I developed these characters and I know I'm going to enjoy
You
watching
see
it.
their lives, you think, oh, they're nerds. They're like me, and they're not anything like real people
Okay.
at all.
How
Another
long has
example.
the Big Bang Theory been going for?
Season
11 years.
50.
What?
No, they're on season
It's
12.
done one extra season, 2 extra seasons from Friends, because Friends did 10 years, so 10
Yeah, and
seasons.
Friends went on a little bit too long.
How I Met Your Mother did
8
9.
or 9, and that went on too long.
Supernatural's on 13.
Supernatural started the other day. and
Simpsons are on
Simpsons
24
are
or
on 29.
South
29!
Park, South Park, what's that on? That's on...
That's on. I think
That's
but
in its 20s.
Doesn't that have half-yearly seasons?
Yeah, so yes, South Park has like 2 seasons a year or something.
But the thing is with cartoons, I think they're standalone because they can go on forever.
Yeah.
Because they can't... do you know what I mean?
The way
I don't know. I think Simpsons has now
Yeah.
reached its.
the way South Park works is they make each episode each week. So when an episode comes out on TV, they only just start making the next episode. So it's about what's going on current in the world, and
Well,
that
Family
keeps
Guy
it,
does that, doesn't it?
yeah,
Really?
keeps it a bit more relevant than like Simpsons, which I don't think I've seen an episode since the early 2000s, and have no intention of. I didn't even know it's still
Some
going.
of them are quite good, but again, I'm watching it because obviously Sky One still does The Simpsons.
Still,
and Channel 4 still does The Simpsons when you come home from work. Channel 4 is a lot of repeats, anyway, of the classic era, I'd say, which is the era that we probably watched. So, oh God, a classic episode. Like, the ones with Sideshow Bobbin. Well, the ones back then with Sideshow Bobbin.
Treehouse of Horrors.
Treehouse of Horrors, like the first 4 Treehouse of Horrors, because they're on like Treehouse of Horrors 22 now.
Do they still do them?
I believe. I think it's something they do every year. Yeah, but it's like on Treehouse of Horrors 25.
people must still be watching it unless it's something a bit like if they stop making The Simpsons, the world will end, and we just don't know that. But there's got to be a
they
reason
have
they're still
predicted
making
a
it.
lot of future events, which is
True.
quite because like
Didn't they predict Donald Trump?
they predicted Donald
yeah.
Trump because Lisa became president after Donald Trump.
Yeah.
They predicted something else, which I can't remember, but the main one is that Donald Trump, because they've even animated him coming down an escalator, waving, and there's a picture of him
Doing the
coming
same.
down, and it's like, Matt Groening knows how to do future readings and all that. I can't remember the word. What's future readings? Psychic. There we go. That's it.
I have no idea what
I
tangent you
don't
just went
know.
on them.
So we know some of them, like so Simpsons. We would agree that needs to be cut short.
Simpsons should probably go. But how do you end the Simpsons?
No.
You just stop.
Do you just stop?
Like,
I don't. I think people
like,
would want to. I don't know why they didn't age.
You know, like when you take a dog out to shoot it, it's just that. Just end it.
I don't know anyone that's took out a dog to shoot it, apart from in Old Yeller.
Exactly, that's what I meant.
Harry the redneck lives out and kills animals and puts them out of their misery.
But hi, Luce.
if you lose your main actor, that's time to end it. Like that 70s show, that went on for about 6 seasons, and then Topher Grace was like, "I'm out." So they tried to replace him. Didn't go another season after that. Scrubs did exactly the same. Natural End went on 1 season.
Did Scrubs have a year break though?
It doesn't make a difference. They still went on for a 9th season with a whole new cast.
Yeah, Scrubs should have ended when Zach Braff left. But Zach Braff came back.
Yep.
To try, obviously, he must have had a big paycheck to come back, I'd assume.
Yeah. X-Files did the same.
So I'm gonna put a couple out there. So Homeland, that should have ended 3 seasons in.
I think Homeland should have been a 2-season special.
With Brody, you know, when
I've not watched it, but
Yeah,
it just
so
the whole
there's like
being
a-
told the premises of the story.
Well, there's a main storyline, and it happens, and then I think it gets to season 3 from memory, and to me that should have been it.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it was good. After that, I'm not because it's all about espionage and spies and counter-terrorism. Very good, but I feel like it could have just been that standalone 3 series done really well and left it at that as a bit of a staple.
And when you go too far, when you've got a really good concept for a story, you see that story out. If you then add, all these same characters are now in this situation, it's like, it's getting a little bit unbelievable.
I mean, I know it does happen because these people obviously, let's pretend they're in real life. They will obviously still do their job and they still go on to do other things. But that main story was so, like, it involved, like, someone nearly killing the president.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. How do you top that? You don't.
Yeah.
So,
What annoys me is you've got these series that, again, Big Brother has only just been cancelled. Now, fair enough, that's not a TV series, but that's something...
That show.
What do you mean by just been cancelled? As in,
Well, it was on Channel 4
I
when
remember that.
we probably...
that was like
Were in school.
15 years ago, yeah.
And then Channel 5 picked it up. But now Channel 5 have decided to end Big Brother after... Apparently there's a season on... Is there a season on at the moment?
There is.
There's a season on at the moment.
There's a you can't see me doing the finger quotes, but it's a celebrity one.
Yeah.
I've never heard of any of the people in
I
there.
think... No,
You never
that was...
do.
No,
There's
no.
like 1 or 2 people over the
So,
time.
if people are watching that, there are good series like, for example, Firefly, that never had a
Never
second
got its
season.
sequel. Oh, it got a film.
The
You got
film,
a
the
film.
film finished it off nicely. The film is amazing, but it got 1 season. Barely. All 6 episodes are like in some weird order.
And it's
didn't
Fox's fault that season 2
Didn't Josh
never came.
Whedon say he was going to do
No.
another season?
No.
Or
He would love to have, but he's not going to.
I think that ship has sailed.
Also, Nathan Fillion's probably
A bit old.
a bit old to do.
And he's making a ton off Castle, which has been going forever. Crime procedurals, like, I'm going to get this one in the neck. But
CSI?
CSI and, I don't want to say the one I'm thinking of, CSI and Castle and shows where it's like,
Bones.
maybe Bones.
I don't.
They go on for so many seasons that... House, yeah, it's like, it just goes, like, on, I suppose that's the type of show
Is House
that
a
they are.
crime one, or is that a medical one?
It's like, it's like a yeah, it's the same though.
Is
There's
that the
like,
guy with the walking stick?
yeah. It's like, oh, there's a problem, I need to solve it, and every week there's
But
a
that's like
different
Casualty. Remember Casualty on it? Well, as a TV show on
Casualty's
Saturday night.
still on, isn't
Is it
it?
still on?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. There's always stories to tell in a hospital, isn't
I
there?
suppose with those crime procedurals and then like things like soaps, they're designed to go on like that forever. But the really in-depth ones that have really in-depth stories, like your show is the stories of things like Homeland, 24, Breaking Bad, Lost. The story is told over 1
Lost.
season.
Oh,
Well, okay.
But
I love Lost.
Lost
feel free
died.
to interrupt my point.
I was about to say, but Lost died. I'm going to carry on because you just stopped. Lost died at season 3.
I'm not talking about Lost, John. I'm just talking about the concept that. So, like those TV shows where you start the first episode and then the last episode of the last season is the end of the story and it tells this overarching story over every single episode. But then things like Bones and CSI, it's here's the situation these characters work in, here's what they do, here's a different story every week about them. And it doesn't tell. Sometimes they have this one overarching villain, but it doesn't tell this one story from start to finish, which is why those shows can go longer. But like Lost, where that went on way too long. Lost, I think, was the catalyst for why Walking Dead and Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad all have 13, 14 episode seasons. Because Lost was all 24 episodes, and it was just too much time to fill with all this mystery and lore, and a lot of it just became nonsensical.
It was so good.
It was very good.
I mean, I think another couple very similar that I felt went their direction and then sort of ended on a good spot was like The Sopranos.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that kind of got to a point and then they bowed out.
Was that 6 seasons?
I think it was 6 seasons, yeah.
That seems to be the sweet spot.
Well, look,
Breaking Bad.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, just done. And I'm sad it was gone, but I'm glad it was gone.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want that to get to 10 seasons and be like, oh, come on, what are you doing now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's,
It is good when they have an end point. Like Game of Thrones has an end point. Obviously, they're going to probably be doing prequels and sequels.
Well, they've got they've announced 5.
They've announced 5
potential prequels that they're
or
working
spin-offs.
on. Well, yeah, there's going to be something about Valeria, the Doom, with Rhaegar
So more dragons.
coming over and conquering. Yeah, it's going to be all that.
That's where it's going to go too far.
Do you think so?
That's where it's going to be, all right, enough Game of Thrones. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. I think another couple of
how am I getting a phone? Carry on.
Another couple of phones. Another couple of prequels, and then I reckon like the next one, after the next one, people will start to go, "Oh, come on,
Yeah.
another."
That's how
another
people are
one."
with do not spoil season 8 for me, or no, I should have watched it by now, but that's how it is with Walking Dead. People are like,
I'll start watching.
oh,
Do
enough.
you think it's reached its conclusion?
I felt the last so season 8, I watched the first couple of episodes and was exhausted. I'm just, because Game of Thrones, you know, there's this, it's coming, there's something coming. The show sets out something is coming. Same with Lost, it was like, there is an end point we're trying to get to, getting off the island. With The Walking Dead, every single episode of season is about surviving. And I understand that the concept is that there is no end in sight for these characters, and that's part of the story, that like there is very little hope. But at the same time, I'm not in the zombie apocalypse. I'm watching TV for fun. The fact that this just goes on and on and on, there's no end point. It's like, all right, I've seen it all.
So, essentially, we stopped watching the same season.
Yeah.
Because I kind of like reached my mental point of the stress of it is where basically probably the new main character, Negan, showed up. So Negan showed up, bashed in a few heads, and I was kind of like,
That's where I turned away.
oh,
It seemed like shock factor for the sake of it.
Really?
no, but it's that whole area was panel for panel the comic, apart from one of the deaths.
That entire episode is one of the greatest episodes of TV I have ever seen, and it's also the one that turned me off the show. Not because I didn't enjoy it, but because I was like, I can't physically keep doing this every week.
Yeah.
Like, I was finding watching 45 minutes of The Walking Dead every week tiring and exhausting because of just the constant threat of they're having a conversation and a zombie could just come from nowhere and just... And
That's the entertainment, though.
That's the entertainment, but at the same time, over the course of 8 seasons, exhausted. Because then I was also doing Game of Thrones at the same time.
Yeah, that's...
Which is just as exhausting.
That's tough waiting every week for
Yeah.
an episode. Normally, we're used to... We went about this last week with how we consume media. We're all used to this binging.
Yeah.
You know, Netflix binging, whereas like Game of Thrones, you have to wait every week. Unless it gets leaked online, like season 3, I think.
Last season.
Yeah, but you've got to watch those programs when they come out because the internet ruins them.
Or
People just can't... Oh, yeah, you. People just can't keep them. People just can't... I just said, don't ruin season 8 for me. And he goes, oh, Negan's now the main character. I'm like, literally 30 seconds. Literally 30 seconds.
I've got another quick one just to throw out there before we move on.
Yep.
Penny Dreadful, did anyone ever watch that?
No.
Well, that ended
Watched
on...
the first 3 episodes, and even though I liked it, I just didn't carry on with it.
Well, that was based off, apparently, when I looked into it, Penny Dreadfuls were, I think it was Victorian horror stories that were written.
Yeah.
And that's what the series is loosely based off. You know, there's a werewolf, there's a vampire, blah, 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 Jekyll and Hyde, all that. And yeah, like, that had 3 seasons, and then it just ended, and it just couldn't... It's like the directors sort of went, oh, I'm done with that now. Or they ran out of money, or they were told, you're probably not going to get a season 4. And it just ended, and it was such a fantastic season. And I wish that got another season, but it didn't.
Oh, well, that's just happened with Luther. Because Luther got cancelled, but not...
Luther?
Not Luther. Yeah, it is Luther. The one with the one with
Lucifer.
Lucifer, that's who I'm
I was going to say,
of.
Luther's got a season.
Yeah. Lucifer, sorry. Technically, both names of the devil.
I'm thinking of Constantine when you said that, because that got cancelled, didn't it?
Constantine got cancelled, however, he still lives in the Arrow
universe,
TV universe, and he's been doing a lot of voice acting for the animated stuff, so he's still playing the character.
He was also Kenway, Edward Kenway.
He was also in Kenway, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But what was I saying?
I don't know where your point was going. Probably a better example of what Mike's talking about. You know, you said you'd like it to come back or get an end. Mm-hmm. There is a popular TV series that had that happen where it had to end, and it ended a bit abruptly. It got another season eventually, and it was awful.
What are we talking about here?
Heroes.
Oh yeah.
God, I've not watched it because I heard it was so bad.
It was terrible. It was so bad.
Do you really think that the first season with it?
The first season of Heroes was absolutely incredible. The second season wasn't that bad.
Do you remember that? What was his name? The samurai guy?
Hero.
Do you remember when he stops the time in his office?
Stops the time.
He does. Well, he's looking at the clock and he makes it. He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He stops the time. And I'm like, wow.
He can control time.
Yeah.
First season was amazing. The second season was also amazing. Pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't tell you what happened in the third season, and it starts
the
getting...
writer's strike happened.
The writer's strike happened.
Killed a lot of shows.
Yeah, because Lost season 4 was only half a season.
What were they complaining about?
They weren't getting paid much.
Right.
So writers, the people who were creating these amazing stories...
Were not getting paid, right?
It was a time when shows like Prison Break, 24, Lost, the shows that really started what TV is today, with the story was what was the most amazing. The people writing those shows weren't getting paid compared to the directors and the actors.
It's why a lot of your box sets back then were very, very, very skinny.
Yeah, you'd have thick Finn when the writer's strike was.
Yeah, so it was Lost, Scrubs,
Prison Break.
There were quite a few that were affected.
Lost was?
Yeah,
Lost was
season
affected.
4.
Season 4 was like really tiny.
Ah, right, I didn't know that. That's really interesting.
It's one of the weaker seasons as well.
Right, okay, we've got to move on. Good discussion. We're going to move on to what are we playing?
Exactly the same that I was last week.
Go on then, you go first.
So, Assassin's Creed Origins, because I haven't got the money to buy Odyssey. I haven't got the money to buy Odyssey, so I borrowed Origins, and it's good.
So
and I played PUBG with you.
I sold my copy of Origins. I know that's bad, but I did. I sold it, and I think I bought the Binding of Isaac on Nintendo Switch, which is a fantastic little indie game. But yeah, I think for me, I gave up on Assassin's Creed. We spoke about this. So I didn't play Unity. So it was Unity. Was it Black Flag, the last one I played?
Everyone, yeah.
And I just looked at Unity and thought, nah.
Unity was absolute trash.
It's the same old, isn't it? Climb a tower, get these.
No, Unity, it wasn't even the same old. It was worse.
Yeah.
It was absolute trash. And then Syndicate, fantastic game.
Syndicate was good.
But because of Unity, no one's bothered
so
with it.
So I got Origins, which is what you're playing, and then I'm like, do you know what? I can't be bothered for this. I don't have the time. I've done all this before.
Yeah.
They're like Apple, releasing a game every single year. You know, and it's like they had a break for
this.
Can
you name all the games that have come out for Assassin's Creed?
Probably.
I mean, yeah, easy.
1, 2, 3 Brotherhood, Black Flag, Unity.
Missed one out already.
Oh, you got Rogue.
1, 2 Brotherhood,
Revelations.
3 Liberation, 3 Liberation, Black Flag. And then it was Unity, Syndicate,
Rogue.
Rogue's in there as well.
Rogue.
You forgot China and India.
China,
Those-
Russia.
they're like-
they're
they're like
obviously.
indie
They're not in
they're not in the
chronology.
continuity of the story that we're playing. Then there's Unity, Syndicate, Origins, Odyssey.
So, how are you finding?
What did we achieve there? Sorry.
I just wanted to see if you could name them all because there's been.
Can you name all the Halos? Do you know what I mean? Like, can you name all of these really popular?
Let's stack it.
I'm enjoying it. I'm literally probably I've only played 2 hours of it, and I didn't realise how big the map was.
Mm-hmm.
I've zoomed out, like it started in this oasis area, and you're like, this is really big. It takes me quite a while to walk from because I keep forgetting that I've got a camel that I can summon. Because I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game since Syndicate first came out, and I'm late to the party with Origins because the one after Origins.
Did you have a horse in Syndicate?
No, you could
Horse-drawn carriages.
horse-drawn carriages,
Yeah, it
and
was
you
good.
had a grapple hook to get on top of the buildings.
You could get around London zippy.
You could get around a lot quicker. This one, I'm finding I'm running around a lot more, which takes you back to the old Assassin's Creed Altair days.
Do you remember the first trailer for the first Assassin's Creed on the PlayStation?
No.
Yes,
Mate.
with the eagle, and it was
Someone was getting hung.
hung, yeah, and it's climbing the roofs.
And look, they had this. They introduced the mechanic of how the character was like traversing the environment, and it was just groundbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember, wow.
Well, every game after it kind of had it in, didn't they?
I was like, every game after it had the core mechanic of the series.
I wasn't saying that, Joe. I was just being reminiscent.
The parkour element, because obviously parkour was quite a big thing that was in society then. A lot of people were doing parkour, so Assassin's Creed taught. It was in Bond and it was in other films.
So what's the new one?
The new one is Odyssey, so that's set
You sold me on this. You told me that the ship battles are back.
combat's back.
The ship battles are back. However, from listening to people talk about the ship battles, it is essentially cannons and ramming into the other ships, but you don't actually go onto the other ship to kill the other crew.
Right, this will sell it for me. Is there shanties?
I don't know.
I'm not interested.
There won't be.
There won't be.
Different time. It's set in there.
Spartans.
They didn't sing on the sea.
It's set in the Spartan one.
This is Sparta. Maybe they sung that like what they were saying. all along.
Okay, can you continue that song? I really want to find out how it goes.
This
It'll be in
is
the
Sparta. What the hell?
Okay, so
I'm
you're
enjoying
it,
Origins,
yeah?
but again, it's just it's thrown me into the story quite quickly, and I'm gonna carry on playing it because I'm loving it. And then
Okay.
PUBG, well
we're
you
playing
already know.
PUBG, yeah. Harry?
I am about to start doing redoing Resident Evil 7 because we've had a bit of a break from it.
What a game! What a game!
Currently playing it co-pilot with George, where she does all the exploring and the walking around and all the bits before the jump scares. She does because I'm too scared. Once the jump scares happened and you've got to like shift a bit, I'm like, oh, I can do that because the scary bits already happened. But she's doing all the moving around. It's really cool because when we started, she'd never played a first-person game before. So you've seen someone who's not do that before. They're like, they look left and right and then move. Mm-hmm. And then when they try to look up, they look down. Mm-hmm. And like over the course of only like 3 hours, like nimbly moving around and, she's very thorough though, where she has to check every single drawer, even if it's one that doesn't open. And even when I say, that drawer doesn't open, she's like, I've got to check it anyway. And I'm like, okay.
That's not a gaming instinct then, because she's not a gamer. That must be just human instinct.
Yes.
I do that in everything I play.
Gaming literacy.
Have OCD though.
Yeah,
it's really interesting to watch because like I walk into a room in a game now.
We know to do that, don't we?
I know where all the stuff. I know where the games say. It's really fascinating. Like it's not like haha, look at everything. It's actually really genuinely fascinating how someone who doesn't play a lot of games sees this room that's been designed by the developers and sees a room as it's been designed in art and all the. It looks like a room. Where I walk into a room and I see a room and I go there, there.
Yeah, I'm thinking hidden doors.
Hidden doors. That's a switch. I know. Like I'm always looking for discolorations where something doesn't quite look like it matches because it moves. I'm almost jealous that I can't view the game like she does because most of the games she's played are from the Genesis Mega Drive area where they're all 8-bit or the mobile phone games. So this is her first experience with a first proper experience with a really high graphic game that looks almost kind of real.
Is she enjoying it? Does she actually want to?
Bloody
go back
loves
to
it. Yeah,
That's
absolutely loves it. Just doesn't like the bits where so we've just done I know this isn't far in, but we've just done the boss fight, the second fight with Jack, where you've got the chainsaws.
Yeah.
Yeah, screw that.
Yeah,
that was horrible.
It's a tough fight, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's a fiddly one.
Kicking the swinging bodies into him to stun him, but when you stun him, he kind of just goes. He does a little ooh, it's like I've just stubbed my toe a little bit.
So when you beat the game, I think when you beat the game within 3.5 hours on hard, which I did,
right
on my second playthrough, you get the buzzsaw.
Right.
It's like a special weapon you can get.
Yeah.
And you literally just point it at him in that encounter, and he just basically dies.
We so every single person I've seen play the game.
That's right.
At the very beginning of the game, where you're tied to the chair, and you're right, the family feeds you, and then they all you meet the family, and then they all wander off. Mm-hmm. And the first part of the game, Jack's just wandering around the halls, and he kind of chases you, and you have to hide.
Brilliant.
Right? George did that without being caught once.
Yeah.
And I thought, because I'd not played the game before myself, I was like, you did well,
yeah,
mate.
I bet she didn't realise. When that happened, I knew this geezer is going to be around. We're cautious, and I'm looking like random.
Yeah.
I was like that. I was.
I've got a video of it somewhere where she just blindly walks around the corner, and he stood in the corner with his back to the wall. He's not looking at us, and she goes, oh. And then, we went and hid down in the stairs by the garage for about 20 minutes. It was a really long process, but didn't get caught once, and I've scoured the internet for anyone.
Can she play Alien for us?
Nope. I've scoured the internet for anyone who's done that by accident. No, I can't find someone who's never played a game before did something difficult by accident. I was quite impressed.
So you're recording this?
I was just to see if anything interesting happened, and I've got a few little clips, but
a few bits and bobs.
It's a game mostly spent in silence and terror.
So anything else you've been playing, or?
Nope. Not apart from I haven't played anything this week. I've been too busy doing this.
I forgot one that I'm playing. Overcooked 2.
Mm-hmm. Good game.
So I'd like to put a challenge down. Actually, I reckon that if we were to do a versus, me and Kate could beat you two.
Right. So here's the thing: him and Kate play the game. We've never played it.
Yes, but it's also me and Kate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and he's played the game.
Yeah.
You finished the second game.
We finished the second game. We couldn't finish the first.
I played 10 minutes of the first one. I don't think Mike's ever touched it.
Okay, so better move on slightly. I've been playing Tomb Raider.
What?
This is what I wanted to tell you about.
Oh yeah, I knew this.
But I didn't want to say anything before we started recording because we'd get carried away.
Which one?
The new one.
Ooh.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Go on then.
So the first hour, I struggled to get into it.
Really?
Yeah, but only because I'm at this bit of a lull with games at the moment.
Oh, right, okay.
It's not. We have this game as it's up and down. Same with films, TV series, going to the gym as well. You have lulls with everything.
Yeah.
So I had.
So I hate those gym lulls.
No, but yeah. So.
God.
So I was playing an hour, and then I got to that main hub area. You know, the first where it's...
The shanty town.
No, when you first get to the first campsite.
So
it's like that little...
The plane crash, and it's like...
Yeah, and you got to get the knife.
And you haven't got any of your gear. Yeah.
And then when I got all that and I started to get into it, I was like, yeah, this is coming back to me now. I'm getting the same vibes. Now, what I've noticed so far is that, obviously, the game's a reboot... essentially, so it's the third game in the reboot.
Yeah, it's the third game before she becomes...
Yeah, the main Tomb Raider and the PlayStation 1 games. So, in this one, they obviously give you a lot of mechanics straight away. You can do a lot of stuff. You remember, in the past games, they used to aim an arrow at the ropes and you could pull... Yeah. That was later on in the previous games, that was something that you acquire as a skill. Yeah. But now they're kind of giving you a lot of stuff, so I'm interested to see what new things you get.
Right, okay.
So that's what's interesting me. I think the story's good. I like the way she triggers this apocalypse and she doesn't realise it. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool.
I already know that.
The game's beautiful. Mm-hmm. I watched some gameplay a few months back, and she looked terrible in terms of her movement was shocking. She looked too fast, but when I played it, it plays exactly the same. In my opinion, there's nothing. Yep. A little bit better, but I've always loved Tomb Raider. She's a fantastic character. Yeah, and I'm eager to see what's going on. I'm basically at the next campsite, and I'm on my way down to a town, like a shanty town.
That's what I just said. I thought so.
Yeah.
That'll be your first. Not really a spoiler, but that's your first kind of proper hub world where there's side quests and stuff like that.
So, yeah.
The side quests aren't as like the last one. The side quests are like do these side quests. They're a bit force fed. Mm-hmm. Side quests in this one are like you only get them if you come across them. Mm-hmm. They don't really. They'll give you like a better. One of the first ones is like you get a better pistol.
Yeah.
But you don't really need. There's more stealth in some of the.
Well, I love the way she hides in the brambles.
That's.
So, do you know what I love? This is what they should have done with Wonder Woman in the film when she was fighting in the trenches on World War One.
Yeah.
No, what they really should have done with Wonder Woman is that when she was fighting in those trenches, he's thrown shit tons of mud on her.
Yeah.
Like when she's fighting, or she jumps in the marshes and she's caked in mud.
It's a mechanic.
So realistic.
You can hide from people, or you can cover yourself in mud, and she goes. And no matter what outfit you're wearing, from the choices, apart from. Now, I don't know if you got these, but I've got them. You can play as Lara from Tomb Raider 2.
Yep, I've got them all.
You got those?
I've got...
It looks awful. I never used it. Because it just took the immersion away, but it was pretty cool.
I think is it depending on what games you play? Because it's got a save from, like, Angel of Darkness.
Yeah, I got the Lara Croft from Tomb Raider 2.
Yeah, I got 1 and 2.
One in the bum jacket. One in the bomber jacket, and then the one in a leather jacket.
So good.
There's also Lara from the reboot Tomb Raider, and she looks... You put that outfit on her, and it's not just the clothes; her face changes.
And that's what I said to my wife. We were watching it. She's really interested in it, and we were watching it. And I said she looks so different. Mm-hmm. And Lucy didn't understand obviously what I meant. Mm-hmm. And then I found the costume changes, and you could definitely tell. I thought she looked better in the previous iterations, but she looks way better in this one.
Yeah, she looks older now.
I love her hair. It's all like the way the hair, like the graphics, and it's great.
You played around with the photography mode.
Yeah, I had a little go. Not to your extent, which is funny, by the way. You need to check that on Instagram. There's a fantastic picture of Lara doing something really funny. It's great.
Looking up some skirts. Yeah, I advised, don't touch... Because there's some parts of this game are going to get beautiful. There's one scene in particular that's particularly, like, badass. You'll know it when you see it. It's badass. Mm-hmm. Don't try and take a picture of it. So as soon as you start fuffing around with the photo mode, you suck yourself out of the story. And I found that I kept sucking myself out of these moments. The camera would go, look at this, and I'd go, I want a photo, and I'll suck myself out of the moment.
So I got one little question for you.
Yep.
In the old, I think it was I don't know which one it was. It was the first or second one. There was an achievement where you had to get all these collectibles.
Yep.
And I remember there was one, the first little hub world in Tomb Raider 1 or 2, and you couldn't go back.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Is that the same in this one?
Nope. I don't know exactly what you're talking about. And nope, you can get back there.
You know the high bit?
Yeah.
There's a little place basically, and you use your instinct mode, which I use all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Constantly pressing R3. And I look up and I see this like highlighted pole that I can swing across.
Yep.
And I cannot for the life of me find out to get up there.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just I was in the moment and I wasn't thinking about it. But you can go back this time.
You can go anywhere that has a collectible. Because there are some areas you can't get back to, but only because there's nothing there as well.
Right, okay.
Anywhere that you can... So I know what you're on about that first tomb.
Yeah.
That you get the impression it's gone.
Yeah.
You can go back there.
Well, you find
can
eel,
go that.
when you first encounter the eel, I'm sure it's there.
Yeah. So that bit where she swims under and that really horrible bit where she's like has to rock climb underwater.
Yeah.
You can't get back under there, but there's nothing under there.
So yeah, that's what I've been playing. What a game.
Amazing game.
I'm going to try and push on. I want to get it done before Hitman 2 comes out next month.
Before we move on, did you know that there's a new Warhammer game on Xbox?
What's that got to do with Tomb Raider?
No, but it's games playing.
Oh, right, okay.
Last week he took a Warhammer game, he bought a Warhammer game.
Took it back straight away, yeah.
Well, I'm going to get it again. I'm going to get it again when it's about £20. But yeah, I have seen Space Hulk. Again, I don't think it's a £40 game. Personally.
What type of game is it?
It's the Space Hulk game was a board game where it's tight corridors and you're in a Space Hulk, like a ship that's been floating in the space for decades, well, millennia. And enemies are inside, but it's really close-knit combat fighting, hallways. So it's like a board game.
Yeah.
You move your characters, a couple of space, you have to anticipate your enemy. It's basically just a board game.
Oh, right, okay.
But yeah, I have seen it, John.
I just thought, because that's what you like, is Space Marines.
Yeah, so I'll have a look. But yeah, so we'll move on to this week's news. So we'll cover games first. You guys want to take this over? PlayStations have been breaking apparently this week.
Yeah, so something's come out today where if someone sends you a message, and it has to be the specifically type of message, it literally corrupts your PlayStation 4, and the only way to resolve it is to do a complete factory reset.
There is a combination of characters that you can send to someone in a message on Xbox, PlayStation, and you break their... That's like...
All the fanboys are screaming at you right now. This is not true. This is so not true. PlayStation's the best.
This is like 1990s MSN, Yahoo Messenger stuff where you could send... You could log people out. If you send the right characters to them in a message, you could log them out. And that was 25 years ago. We're having the same problem now in 2018.
Yeah, it's almost as if they're leaders in the console war, but yet they're behind on a lot of things.
With the backwards compatibility, that's come out recently. They've been
only just confirmed that you can change your name.
Yeah.
Which is like, didn't Xbox do that on the 360? Like,
yeah.
7 years ago.
When I got one, and Sony's sent out this kind of precautionary fix for it, which involved starting up your PlayStation in safe mode, and then other people like fans have gone, or you can just set your messages to private. You can see when this message comes up without opening it and delete it.
I don't even think I get messages if anyone.
No, the only person that I talk to on PlayStation are you and Andrew, and that's it. And if you send me that message or Andrew send me that message, I know where you live.
Well, I wouldn't even know where to begin anyway.
But yeah, it was like it's no longer trending on Twitter now, but it was trending on Twitter earlier today, about 5 hours ago, and it's like PlayStation owners advised to set messages to private. Receiving a certain message on PS4 allegedly leaves players unable to use their console without a factory reset afterwards. The advice from PlayStation support is to delete the message on mobile and boot their consoles up into safe mode, but many players are just advising change your message settings to private. Okay. So that's worrying. I haven't put my PlayStation on, but
yeah, neither have I.
A lot of my privacy settings are friends only anyway, so
okay. So yeah, if you've got a PlayStation, set your messages to private. In other news, the Red Dead Redemption install sizes have been announced, or revealed, should I say. Now the Xbox is 20 gigabytes smaller than the PlayStation 4 edition.
Whoa!
I think that's a lot.
That is a lot.
Why
for
though?
an edition? It doesn't actually. Because I've read some articles today. It doesn't actually say why. It just goes.
You think it has something to do with the fact that PlayStation get extra content 30 days before?
So that's probably what that extra content
probably
is. Preloaded.
But 20 gig is a lot of extra content.
It's a big
game. Is it though?
Well, we don't know what the size of the map is yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it actually in terms of hours of play content, or is it just textures and maps?
It's all 4K goodness.
Xbox size is 88.5 gig. Mm-hmm. That's what it's being suggested on, I think, Microsoft are listing it as 88.5 gig at the moment. PlayStation are currently showing it at 105 gigabytes of hard drive space to install.
Could it even be that the Xbox One will have a 20 gig day one patch?
It might have a day one patch, but because that's the majority of what, like Forza even had that when that came out 2 weeks ago.
And it also has been revealed that GTA 5 Online was a 30-player online game, and Red Dead apparently has 32 online players.
A whole two more
so
people
got an
to
extra
kill my horse every
got an extra two. But the thing is, as we played GTA Online, quite a lot, and Michael will need to play it with us before Red Dead comes out. There's a story in regards to that. We bought Michael GTA 5 so he could come play GTA Online with us. And as he's showing us how grateful he was for us buying him that gift, he hasn't even stuck it in his console.
It never interested me.
Because you've never played it.
You just don't play with your friends, do you?
I had so much to play. You know what?
You had nothing to play. You had PUBG.
No, I'm sure I was playing something
Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah, a lot of Siege.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Siege.
I'm surprised you haven't jumped into Call of Duty.
No.
No, that came out this week.
That came out this week.
Who cares?
None of us play Call of Duty.
We stopped.
It has been the biggest digital of all the Call of Duty games ever. It's been the one that's been downloaded. Like it's broken digital sales records.
If I look,
Is it only multiplayer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
They put the campaign out.
physical disc sales are the lowest they've ever been.
look, if I was 17 to 23, I'll be on that.
So you're only 3 years out of that.
How many?
28, John.
How many
Sorry.
Call of Duty sales are people just buying it because they want to look cool for their friends?
Potentially, or the fact that there's a battle royale, and they think they can do it better than PUBG. Well, let me tell you,
Apparently,
They can't.
it's quite.
Apparently, it's very
quite
good.
good.
I know that. I'm just in denial because
The
I'm
fact
not
that-
buying Call of
I
Duty.
like the concept that it's a lot of their famous maps all smished together in one big massive world.
really?
So like you can drop in one map and then travel to Nuketown.
Oh, that's cool.
And stuff, so-
See these stuff? No, I'm not buying Call of Duty.
If it drops down to like a tenner or 15 quid or has a free
like 3 years,
or
maybe
has
4
a
years.
free weekend.
They drop down quite quickly.
Not Call of Duty games.
Not
Call of Duty games never drop.
Look, if they bring out a World at War remaster, I'll be on it.
They did. It was called Battlefield 1.
Yeah, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Okay.
Just going back to Red Dead as well. It comes out obviously October 26th, but online doesn't come out till the beta, however you say it, doesn't come out till November. So they're doing a delayed release on the online mode, like they did with GTA,
Yeah, but when
which gives you a chance to play the game
yes,
before online comes out.
yeah.
Okay. Gonna have to move on to TV. Few announcements. Where shall I begin? So, Iron Fist season 3 was cancelled.
Was it cancelled or was it just not renewed for
It was
season 3?
not renewed.
Yeah.
Same thing though, isn't it?
Well, season 2's only come
Yeah,
out
season
August.
two's- yeah,
Well,
yeah.
we spoke about that last week in terms
Yeah,
of
yeah,
what I
yeah.
thought
So
was gonna be
it's
on.
not getting a season 3, but the character is not dead. Obviously, the character is still very much
They
in
reckon
the universe.
Yeah, they reckon he's going to pop up in Luke Cage.
He's a Defender's Hulk.
Yeah,
Like
going to be around.
Hulk, what Hulk is to the Avengers in the movies.
I'm glad they're doing this though, because like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage has been renewed for another season, and I'm glad that they're filtering out what doesn't do well, but they're going to still keep them around.
Yeah.
I think they'll end up becoming one season, Jessica Jones and Luke Cage.
Yeah.
I think because
What, just banging and
well, no,
banging
because
people?
in the
Banging and
comics,
banging.
in the
Banging
comics,
and
they
banging.
marry and have a kid.
Spoiler.
In the
I'm joking.
but in the comics, they marry and have a
Chinese
kid. So I could just see that being combined into one, or they should start doing a regular Defender series, and Daredevil's the one that has his own spin-off series. Even though they're all spin-offs of Daredevil, yeah, you know what I mean.
Well, that's good news that they Jessica Jones and Luke Cage have been renewed. Daredevil season 3 is out soon. Can't wait for that.
Next week.
This week,
So
Oh, you got it's
this
week.
Friday.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
recording this on the 15th, so it's this Friday.
moving on to films. I normally do films first, but I thought I'd do films last.
Ooh.
There's quite a bit to discuss actually. So the Aladdin trailer dropped last Friday.
Teaser.
So we're getting a full trailer probably soon, I would imagine. And I'm really interested to see what the genie's going to look like.
The teaser is very much a. Imagine your balls are made of nostalgia. That teaser just tickles them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically the teaser trailer is the opening of Aladdin, the cartoon, basically, because it's got Arabian Nights, an instrumental of Arabian Nights, and you got Iago, there we go, got it. Iago just flying to Agrabah and then the Cave of Wonders, and then you've got the Cave of Wonders basically saying diamond in the rough and
But who's
closing.
gonna perform Robin Williams' Genie better than him?
Nobody.
Well, Will Smith is
so
the
that's
genie.
why. Yeah, that's why it's
he's
Will
not doing
Smith.
the Genie.
So he'll do a completely different.
Weird, different take on it.
Yeah.
So we were having this
which
discussion the other night.
Sounds
actually.
interesting because he's a great actor.
So we were having this discussion the other night because when we went out, and it was like, if you had to pick someone to be Robin Williams of the modern era, who would you say is the modern Williams Robin? I said that completely. Who would you say is the modern Robin Williams?
Um,
Killed him.
Harry, do you want to take this one?
Oh,
I'll think about
you're
it.
going to need to go first. I can't get out Modern Williams Robin. Modern Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
He's not as enthusiastic as Robin Williams.
Well, I don't mean like for like, but
He's
this
really
year was
eccentric, Robin Williams.
yeah. This year was like
You know who I think? Generally, Pick a Destiny.
Jack Black.
He's probably got more charisma than Chris Pratt.
I'd say that's actually a good shout. That is, yeah.
He's just not as. For some reason, he's not as recognised as everyone. Well, he is, but not as like an A-list.
We kind of said Steve Carell was a good choice because he's kind of like he can do a serious actor.
Yeah, because Robin Williams could do serious.
Robin Williams could do serious, but then he can also do obviously. Have you watched The Office America?
No.
Oh, you'll like that.
You should watch that.
I watched the UK one, which is amazing.
Yeah, you'd like the American one.
Hellboy. I don't know if I should have mentioned this on TV. Is it a TV series or a film?
No, it's a film. It's a reboot.
That's why then. So the Hellboy trailer leaked today.
Relieved itself.
Can't wait for that. I mean, I love the actor.
Yeah, he's in Strange Things.
In Stranger Things.
Yeah.
He plays Hopper, the cop. And I love Hellboy in general. I think. I mean, we're
I'm a little bit disappointed that they didn't do the trilogy of Ron Perlman's.
Yeah,
because it was supposed to be a trilogy.
Yeah, we all are.
Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro.
Yes, was perfect for
one
the
of
Hellboy.
my favourite creators.
Have you seen Shape of Water?
Yep. I've seen a lot of stuff.
Fantastic film.
I still think Crimson Peak's one of the best
Yeah.
love sort of. It's like a love film. It is like a love film, but very sadistic one. Fantastic. Yeah. So we're
None
gonna
of us have watched it yet. The Hellboy trailer.
No, we're gonna watch it after this podcast.
Yeah, I went to watch it before this podcast and got things thrown at me.
Right, moving on to this week's film discussion. Last week we discussed the first Purge. And this week my recommendation was Ridley Scott's 1985 fantasy film Legend, starring Tom Cruise and Mia Sara. A film that was dear to me in my childhood, which John is now going to bash.
No, I'm not the one that's going to bash it.
Okay, so what are people's thoughts? Generally, honestly,
What an absolutely stunning looking film.
Do you love it, yeah?
It was...
That's not what you said earlier.
Every single frame of that film would have made a nice desktop background.
Mm-hmm.
However, the story that interwove those lovely bits of imagery the characters in it are so unfleshed out. It was really difficult to be intrigued or give a crap about them. And apart from, and there's a trivia story behind this you might know, the only really intriguing character was Tim Curry's darkness, and that was all down to a problem with his prosthetics.
What, with the horns?
Yeah.
So what happened?
So you know the beginning of the film, Blix, the goblin goes. Oh, but no, interrupt. Go on.
Sorry. In regards to that goblin, where was that goblin in like the third act of the film?
I know. Maybe when we discuss the third act of the film, we'll talk about it. So the very first scene of the film, John, right? So he's sat in a chair, and you just maybe see his arm, and he points at it. Yeah, he points at you, don't? And it's like, oh, I wonder what he looks. I knew what he looks like. But it's like, oh, he's, you do you want to make any more noise?
Sorry, I want to mow.
You don't know what he looks like, and then you hear his voice, or the film. He doesn't appear until the last 20 minutes of the film. He's only in the last 20 minutes of the film. The reason you don't see him, they shot that stuff, but then they had to then start shooting around him because those prosthetics were that heavy and claustrophobic that Tim Curry had a bit of a panic attack
every time he put them on.
And at one point it was that bad he ripped it all off and took his skin off.
Oh God!
So that he couldn't put it back on because he was all screwed up. You used to have to sit in a bath for 4 hours to let the glue soak off after every filming.
This was like the 80s.
80s.
So obviously methods hadn't been today.
It got nominated for an Oscar for its makeup work.
Yeah.
And rightly so. It was amazing. The darkness looks amazing.
So good. I just think visually it's gorgeous.
Yes.
Now I knew it was that film, but I forgot how much I love that bad guy. It is.
It's frightening.
When you watched it as a kid, because obviously it came out in 1985. 1987, I was born. 1986 for you. So when I first watched that film, I was probably 5.
Yeah, same. We probably shouldn't have been watching it.
No, and it absolutely terrified me. But watching it the other night, fair enough, it doesn't hold up in today's society.
Visually,
But
it does.
Visually, that bad guy was great. Where he's running at the Tom Cruise character,
So good.
and it's like, and then he goes, it gets him against the wall with his horn.
Yeah.
He goes, "What do we have here, little boy?" And I'm like, I got chills, and that's a scary memory. That is.
So that's the first thing that George asked when we started watching it. The first question she asked was, "What rating is this?" I thought it was a kids' film. It was a PG.
Yeah.
It was a PG. It was
But
like
back then, I reckon the ratings were a little bit more tame. Personally,
Yeah.
I reckon that would be maybe
there's no such thing as
today.
Facebook mums.
Do you think that would be a 15 today?
I'd probably be a 12.
12A.
12A, yeah.
Yeah, we get away with murder in this country
Yeah,
with
because-
our ratings.
Essentially, that character's Hellboy.
He's like a camp Hellboy.
Camp Hellboy.
It's Tim Curry.
Or Tim Curry.
Tim Curry is
Curry's
Hellboy.
With
great.
hooves
I
for
love
feet.
Tim Curry.
But yeah, I personally, I've watched that many, many times, and this is before I really got into films. And I just remember I had it on a VHS tape. It was recorded. It wasn't even the real tape. It was just a recording
Off a
that maybe
TV.
my dad or my mum had recorded off a VHS player. And I just thought visually it just looks stunning,
It had...
and it's so dark.
It felt like Ridley Scott. It felt like Blade Runner.
Yeah. Have you seen that bit at the beginning? Like where they're sort of like just looking at deep, long shots of like wilderness, and there's like a bear in the distance just walking, and there's like all this stuff. So, and that wasn't CGI.
Nope.
I don't know how they did that.
I can tell you how they did that, because I got fascinated by this last night. So none of it, well, some parts of it, most of it, none of it, you notice there's no, like, just did a John there and said a bunch of stuff at once. Films like Warcraft, set in, it's like a fantasy thing, and there's loads, and Lord of the Rings, there's loads and loads of wide sweeping shots of landscapes. This film has none of those. It's all tight.
Was it done in a studio?
Yep, all
Okay.
tight, close-up corridors of forest, and then the forest was always smoky. You
Right.
notice you can't see what's off in the background really, because it was all filmed in a studio. That first studio then burnt down midway through production, so they had to build an entire new. That is really
Yeah.
an entire new set, and that's why it looks the way it does. That's why it has that claustrophobic kind of feel. Because it was all done in the same. If you look at every shot, is really busy. There's always like leaves and stuff everywhere. Every shot, there's just so much crammed into it because it was all done on set. There's no real wildlife in it. Amazing,
So good.
amazing. The I have to ask one question. You probably agree with me now that talking about it. But so Jack and Lily, name the characters. They already know each other, and then he appears out of the woods.
He's like the forest boy.
He is a weird forest boy, and he's going to go gallivanting. Yeah, so I've got a lot to say about this.
First
fucking
point
film.
first.
So they go to that cliff top, and she gets this ring out, and
Yeah.
she says, "Ha ha ha! Whichever man gets this ring, I'm going to marry." Considering he's the only bloke in about 100-mile radius.
Yeah.
She then takes the ring and throws it off a cliff.
Yeah.
Thinking, like, he then, because he's a bloke, gets up and dives off the cliff. She then goes, "Oh no!" and starts screaming. "Why'd you throw the ring off the cliff then?"
I think when I read that, she does love him. They both obviously love each other, but I think it could never happen, type of thing.
Right,
Because she's a princess and he's a forest boy.
right.
The way it would happen, like if
Yeah,
you look
yeah,
at
yeah.
like your traditional fantasy story maker.
Yeah.
So obviously she throws that in, insinuating that you are the person for me, but
Yeah.
then you can't actually get the ring because it can't really happen. And then he dives in anyway, and she's just so like, "Shit, I didn't mean to do that." And then he gets caught up in the darkness.
Yeah.
And, oh, it's so cool.
But the version on Amazon. So there's two versions of this film. There was the one that came out in 1985, which Tom Cruise hated, and he refused to talk about it in interviews. He just hated this film. And then in 2002, there's a director's cut, which Tom Cruise now classes as one of the favourite films he's ever done, which then makes the story make sense.
So what's the difference? I don't know which one I've seen then.
I don't know either, but I know the one we watched on Amazon would have been the original 1985 one.
Right. Okay.
And the way it's cut is very nonsensical. It's like that whole bit with the darkness taking up and freezing over the river. You don't see that the river's frozen over or any kind of indication that the water's freezing until
He breaks through.
He tries to break through.
Yeah.
And the way it's shot, it looks like he swims down underneath some rocks and tries to come. And the way it's frantically like there's.
I'm sure I've seen that one. Then. That's the one I've seen.
And like not when they first meet in the forest, but when the first two characters first come together, and the goblins are watching them, he jumps down in front of her, and they're talking to each other, and then it cuts to the goblins, and then cuts straight back to the characters who are running off prancing, and it's just so awkwardly edited that you can tell. There was a lot more shot for this film than what you're seeing in this movie, and that's why a lot of it it wasn't very coherent all the way through. Then random characters start showing up, and who are these people? Why are they here? Why is this fairy clearly a underage girl that's trying to? This is a bit weird, kind of thing, and it just didn't make much sense until the last 20 minutes. And the last 20 minutes is all coherent and really, really quite good. But not enough for me to want to go and watch the 2002 director's cut.
No.
We've already talked about the makeup, but that hag in the swamp.
Oh yeah.
That was terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's a little bit creepy. But those little, what were they? Dwarves, elves, dwarves. Those two big
Dwarves
guys.
and elves. Yeah.
One got shot in the head. Fine. Why did he fall down? He quite clearly didn't feel it. Why did he fall down and let them take the unicorn?
They're just very weakly.
And then also, why didn't the hag kill the one that fell in the water? It was like, I don't understand some of the logic in this film.
Yeah. Because there's a glaring oversight in logic with Jack's character who...
Tom Cruise has very bad teeth in that film as well. Yeah.
He has that weird rabbit mouth.
Schnaggle.
And a huge nose. Anyway, he gets that armour and puts the armour on. It's like, this armour's going to make me look like the knight and the hero. Doesn't put any trousers on, though. No. So he just looks like he's wearing a nightie for the entire film.
It's your famous Link costume, isn't it? Just like a tunic of armour, and that's it, really.
But Link wears leggings.
Oh, he does.
Yes.
Blue, aren't they? Well, baby blue.
Tom Cruise wore nothing.
No, he wore a gold pants.
He just has these skinny little young Tom Cruise legs and then little boots that look like socks. It was really, I was watching the movie going, just put some trousers on. It was really kind of uncomfortable. It's like you're watching someone getting changed.
Do you know what I didn't like? The only thing my gripe with it, I mean, I can't see anything wrong with it. I agree with all your points, though, that it does make sense what you're saying. I think that at the end when they sort of like, this is a spoiler, obviously you're here for the discussion.
Yeah, from this point onwards,
the people that are listening. But yeah, so when they sort of like push him back and he's going to fall through that hole in sort of, it's like a tear in time where he falls through it and it's like endless space.
Oh, I just thought it was a hole in a cave.
No, but it's against
like
the wall, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a tear, isn't it, John? In like,
well, it's something, but that again, the whole logic of that whole place.
Yeah, he's shouting out for his father. Who's that? Someone else that's more evil than him, or God, or I don't know.
He sat in the chair at the start of the film in front of that fire. But when Lily's character enters the room, I had to explain to Kate why she's dancing with someone in a dress with. And went technically
that looks so good. Oh yeah,
yeah. I was like, she's dancing with the dress. It's going to be the dress is going to end up on her. That person is not there. It's just the dress.
It's just a
mannequin. But then, why does the darkness, Tim Curry, come out of the mirror? He's already supposed to be in the room, so does he come from another world?
He's not in the room.
He is.
He's not there at that time. Maybe he's in another room in his massive mansion, and he goes through another mirror to get into that room, through that room.
I mean, if I was a Dark Lord, I wouldn't have doors. I'd just have mirrors.
Yeah.
But then he has a really big dark door where the sunlight comes through.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you, John. I would not put the film on my top 10 list.
No.
For things like that.
I'd probably put it on a top 10 list for Bad Guy, because even though he was only in the film for a short period of time, I remember the fear of watching that film, and that little boy was terrifying. But then just that whole fight scene, even though you've got... It obviously was quite clear, not Tim Curry halfway through that fight scene, but it was unrealistic at the same time. This little boy fighting this 7-foot devil, but it was still a great fight scene when you think about some of the stuff that we've had after that, which is not even...
That fight sequence goes against a lot of the tropes of movies at that period, because the movies at that time, like Conan and Lady Hawk and
Conan,
Labyrinth and Willow, it was all the hero defeats the villain. In this one, it was just the hero isn't strong enough to defeat the villain, so he's just got to keep him occupied. He's just got to survive long enough. And I was like, that's awesome.
The other thing that I like about that whole fight thing, he's doing it with 2 arrows in the top of his neck.
Yeah,
so it's like, I'm not even, but you've shot me twice.
But yeah, see,
nothing you can do is gonna.
I loved all that.
Yeah.
Bring him down. It reminds me of Aragorn shouting to Legolas in the Two Towers.
Bring him down.
Bring him down, Legolas. Bring it, and he's shooting the berserker at the same place, isn't he? Right in the shoulders. It was. I just think it's really good.
Essentially, the last 20 minutes of that film are great. Although, how did they reattach that horn?
Magic.
Oh god! The beginning of the film when you see the unicorns. And I'm watching them, and George goes, "Did they just duct tape those horns to those horses? Because you can see the horns just going blah blah blah. The horns are just wobbling about. It's so funny."
But yeah, I'm glad you all enjoyed it. I just think
Kate didn't.
I enjoyed the last 20 minutes.
Kate didn't.
Did George enjoy it?
No, we struggled through it.
So she didn't like it.
I was like, I might have to turn this off and watch it another time. She went, nope, you're doing this. She made me watch it. I'm glad I did, because the last action sequence, the tension is very well built up to it, but couldn't give a crap out of the characters.
I just thought as well, Lily, when she's I say typical, but she's very like, feel sorry for herself. What have I done? And then she becomes this dark character in the end, which is quite. And it's really cool. Because like, growing up with that, I've seen her, and she sort of pretends that she's going along with the darkness's plan, and then she releases the unicorn. I think it's such a powerful character. But John, just coming back, when she's running around and she goes to that sort of beautiful farm field where that they live in a tree, that couple, and they're all frozen.
They're not in a tree, they're in a house.
I thought it was in a tree.
No, I was going to say something about that couple, because quite clearly she's human, and Jack's human.
Yeah.
Why did those two, who are human, freeze, yet Jack... obviously, I'm trying to make sense of this film.
I was going to say, because...
But Jack and Lily, obviously Jack was frozen under the water, but why didn't he freeze in the water?
Let's put it this way. He's a forest kid. He's probably used to these sorts of things going down. And she's a princess, so she's probably powerful. I don't know.
You know, at the beginning,
it's a fantasy film.
You know how it all kicks off because she touches a unicorn?
Yeah.
As she starts walking towards the unicorn...
Well, it doesn't kick off because of that.
He says...
She distracts it.
He says, stop, don't. And she keeps going. And then he says, stop, don't. Like, knowing what will happen if she touches it. And what's the next shot? Him knocking a leaf out the way and walking off.
No, but it doesn't... Her touching it doesn't cause the... She distracts it long enough for the goblin to shoot it with a poison arrow. But whereas it would have potentially bolted before that.
If she wasn't supposed to touch the unicorns and he's the forest boy, I would be tackling her to the ground saying, no! Stop singing at weird unicorns!
So let's bring this to a close.
Well, there's one more thing, just because I'm trying to make logic of a film that's obviously
it's quite a fantasy film.
But when they chop off the stallion's horn, and they go take the horn, and it's like, here's the stallion's horn. He's like, well, did you kill the mare? And he's like, well, there's no point. She'll die.
Yeah.
Eventually, because she's the last one.
Yeah.
She's a creator of life. How?
Fantasy, John.
Yes, but no. She still would need the mat. Like, it was obviously quite clearly, but then essentially there is only those two unicorns. So when they have a baby and they die, who's their baby gonna? Yeah, I was thinking long.
I mean, at that point, I was just like, I was confused as to why they chopped off one unicorn's horn and then captured the other one when they just needed the horns.
Well, they brought it for the
blood sacrifice, wasn't it?
Oh, there we go then.
So, that was this week's film discussion. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Next week's film discussion will come from John, and we will be looking at Peter Jackson's The Frighteners, which was released in 1996, starring Michael J. Fox. Yep. So, John, do you want to add to that?
We looked at this the other day. It's not his last film, but it's one of his last live-action films where he's the main character.
Is this before he got Parkinson's?
Before he got Parkinson's.
Well, Essentially, yeah, because he's obviously done films afterwards, like he's done Stuart Little, and we found out the other day that he's the Bulldog in Homeward Bound, which we didn't know.
What a movie!
Yeah,
I love that movie.
but yeah, it's one of the kind of last films Michael J. Fox is the main star. He's done stuff.
He
since.
appears in front of the camera.
So
Yeah.
is this a comedy?
This is a horror.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
So it goes with, obviously, next week will be Halloween.
Okay.
So I think it's tight, and it will be real. This podcast, if we record it the same day as we do every other week, and it will be released on Halloween. So we'll be talking about a horror film. I watched this film when I was probably quite young, 1996. I probably watched it in 1997, 1998. Terrified me. Doesn't take much. I don't like horror films anyway. Harry doesn't like horror stuff either.
This is a horror comedy.
Okay.
But it's a horror comedy.
There is one scene in it that's a bit. Oh, bloody hell!
There is a terrifying scene in it. With some wallpaper. Can't really go too much into it. But
that's what next week's for.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you'd see a lot of Peter Jackson's inspiration for Lord of the Rings in it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. So tune in next week when we will be discussing Peter Jackson's The Frighteners.
By the way, we're going to have to all watch that together because Harry's renting it, and I don't want to rent it.
Oh
to
yeah,
watch
so
my film.
let me get that. So anything that I'm going to pick is going to be available on a streaming service, and probably you as well. However, John picked a movie that isn't on anything, and I found it on Xbox for £2.50.
Okay.
So yeah,
And balls,
we'll be getting together to watch that.
Balls, you can pay.
We could do that this Friday.
You chose it. You pay £2.50. We could.
We could do that.
Well, fine, me and Mike will get together and watch it. And we'll snuggle.
I've got training.
Okay, so got to move on to this week's
Game.
So, and it's
Keyword countdown. Sorry.
it's not keyword countdown. I've not officially come up with a name for it yet, but we're just going to call it like
John vs Harry.
Name that character. That's the worst name for the game. But anyway,
The worst name for the game would be Name That Location. 'Cause
so
they're not locations, they're characters.
last week you both got 0 points. So 0.
You threw a T-Rex in there and I went straight to Jurassic Park. That's not my fault.
So it was Lara Croft, and this week we have a completely new character, obviously.
I think okay.
That's why Lara Croft gets out the window.
Yeah.
And basically, for those that don't know, this is a guessing game where both John and Harry have 2 guesses each to guess the character that I'm describing, and I will give keywords based on this character's makeup.
It's Lucy now, by the way.
Lucy doesn't know this week.
Oh, I was about to say I need to excuse myself and go to
Okay. So the first clue for this week is running.
Forrest Gump.
That's one guess down.
Well,
No.
I thought I might go for it straight away and see what happens.
Okay.
Maverick.
Tom Cruise.
1-0 to Harry.
Boom.
Maverick was Tom Cruise's nickname
Top Gun.
in Top Gun,
What
which
were the-
they're doing a sequel to.
What were the other guns? What were the other clues?
Well, the other clues after that was Scientology.
Tom Cruise.
You may have not want a bit easy. You did a film called Legend, starring Tom Cruise, and then guess the character.
We also-
After the discussion with Legend, is Tom Cruise.
We also discussed Tomb Raider in depth last week, and
I
guess
haven't
what?
played it. I would. It's just a cheat.
So therefore it doesn't.
No, it doesn't sound.
John,
Stupid game.
do you know what? John, you're just losing, John. It's 1-0 to Harry. Bearing in mind that there's going to be a prize at the end of the year for whoever comes up with the most points. So John is going to be having a sleepless night tonight.
I knew that as well.
So, any closing comments, gents, before we close out?
Stupid game.
No?
No.
I'll just reiterate at the end. My girlfriend does not watch Love Island. I just can't make sure that's in there.
But you watches Celebrity Big Brother.
Nope.
Okay, so that's all we have time for this week. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can find us at overthinkingmedia.com. There you can find our YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Thanks for joining us, and join us next week for more Overthinking at Overthinking Media.
Happy Halloween!
I keep bringing the music in.
See you later.